The following days were tense. The Valax fleet hovered in orbit, watching humans with careful attention, while humanity continued its preparation and observation with remarkable calm. It was clear that neither side wished for immediate conflict, but the tension was palpable. Commander Velyar could feel it, a quiet unease that even his advanced sensors could not measure. Lyrics floated beside him on the observation deck. "Commander, we must consider the possibility that they are unpredictable on a scale we cannot anticipate," she said, her voice low. "Every action they take seems calculated, but cleverer than our predictions. Their unity and intelligence are not just tactical, they are cultural. It is part of their essence." Velyar nodded slowly. "Yes, and now it is time to understand the full scope of their history. Not just their technology, not just their society, but what makes them who they are. That is where the true danger lies." The Valax fleet dispatched exploratory pods to ancient human sites, ruins, old cities buried under sand, frozen landscapes, and forgotten forests. What they discovered shocked them. 500,000 years ago, humans had faced extinction events, natural disasters, and wars, yet each time they had rebuilt, evolved, and improved. They had learned from failure, adapted to impossible odds, and grown stronger every time. One pod transmitted images of ancient cities reduced to rubble. The Valax expected to find evidence of weakness or collapse. Instead, they saw traces of ingenuity, systems designed to survive even the most devastating events. Humans had not only endured, they had thrived despite setbacks that would have destroyed most civilizations. Lyric studied the images, her glowing eyes widening. They adapt faster than any species we have encountered. Each failure is a lesson, not a defeat. Even after catastrophe, they emerge stronger, smarter, and more prepared. That is unsettling. Velyar's attention shifted to a holographic display of the ruins. He traced human evolution across the millennia, noting patterns of resilience, creativity, and relentless problem-solving. "They are unstoppable," he said quietly, "not because they are aggressive, but because they never give up. They persist. They learn. They adapt. That is the terrifying part." Meanwhile, on Earth, humans continued their meticulous preparation for deeper contact. Scientists, engineers, and leaders worked together to analyze the Valax technology and strategy. They did not panic. They studied, they simulated, and they predicted. Every team used logic and imagination together, combining human intuition with calculated planning. Their resilience was extraordinary, even under the pressure of an alien fleet observing every movement. Dr. Amira Sol led a team studying the Valax ships from the ground. "They are enormous but slow to adapt to environmental changes," she said, pointing to a holographic display. "They are powerful but predictable in some ways. If we understand their patterns, we can respond effectively." Ryan, her assistant, looked thoughtful. "Yes, but they are adaptive too. We need to think one step ahead of them, and maybe two. Humans always surprise even themselves with what they can accomplish under pressure." The Valax, monitoring human activity, observed this strategy in action. Humans were not just responding, they were innovating in real time. Their cities, their machines, and their collective knowledge created a web of preparedness that the aliens had never seen. And yet there was something deeper in humans that technology could not explain: courage. They faced the unknown, observed alien ships, and prepared for contact without fear. Commander Velyar called a council among the senior Valax officers. "We have observed their technology, their cities, their adaptation strategies," he began. "But what is truly terrifying is their essence. Humans persist. They unite. They learn. Every challenge, every catastrophe, every near failure has made them stronger. And now, they are ready." One officer spoke, her voice tinged with unease. "Commander, we have faced many intelligent species. Some were strong, some clever, some fast learners. But none combine all these qualities. Humans are unpredictable, resourceful, and resilient. They do not rely solely on technology. They rely on courage, intuition, and unity." Velyar's eyes narrowed. "Exactly. And that makes them formidable. Not because they seek war, but because they cannot be easily controlled, manipulated, or defeated. They survive where others fail. They innovate when others despair. That is unnerving." To test human capability further, the Valax orchestrated subtle challenges. They simulated environmental disturbances, creating minor disruptions in energy grids, communication networks, and transportation systems. Their goal was not to harm humans but to observe their problem-solving skills under pressure. Humans responded quickly. Teams across the globe coordinated instantaneously, restoring systems, redirecting resources, and minimizing disruption. Even in the face of unexpected challenges, they acted with logic, creativity, and calm determination. Each solution revealed another layer of human ingenuity. Lyrics watched from the observation deck. "Commander, they adapt faster than our simulations predict. Every problem we introduce, they overcome, sometimes with solutions we would not have considered. Their creativity is astonishing," Velier nodded. "Yes, and their courage is consistent. They do not shrink from danger. They calculate, plan, and act. This is not mere intelligence, it is evolution in action. Their species has become unstoppable through persistence and willpower." The Velax fleet continued their observation over weeks. Ancient ruins, new cities, forests, oceans, humans demonstrated mastery over every environment they inhabited. They transformed barren lands into thriving ecosystems, adapted technology to every challenge, and maintained social structures that encouraged cooperation and innovation. Humans were a force of nature, shaped not by raw power but by discipline, intellect, and courage. One day, a drone observed a remote mountain valley where humans were constructing a research station. The terrain was harsh, the weather unpredictable, and the resources scarce. Yet humans worked tirelessly, using tools, machines, and ingenuity to carve a functional, sustainable outpost. No other species in the galaxy could have accomplished such a feat under similar conditions. Lyrics turned to Veliar. "Commander, if humans can build and survive in environments like this, what cannot they achieve? They have adapted to every challenge we have observed. They persist. They innovate. They grow stronger with each test." Veliar's voice was quiet, almost reverent, "And that is why they terrify us. Not because of aggression or malice, but because they are indomitable. We return expecting a fragile species, and instead we find a species that could rival the galaxy itself in potential." Meanwhile, on Earth, humans continued their work with humility and focus. They did not boast, they did not panic, and they did not hesitate. Their culture encouraged learning, resilience, and courage. Individuals inspired each other. Communities coordinated across vast distances, and every action reflected a species united not by fear, but by shared purpose. Dr. Amira Sol stood on the observation deck of her city's central research hub, gazing up at the massive Velax ships. "They are watching us," she said to her team. "But we are ready. We have survived, adapted, and thrived through every challenge. This is no different. We will learn, we will adapt, and we will rise." Rian smiled. "And they will learn from us too. They may be powerful, but they have never faced a species like humans before. We are relentless." As the sun set, casting long shadows across cities, oceans, and forests, the Velax fleet continued to observe. Commander Velier understood that this mission had revealed something profound. Humans were not just a civilization. They were a force. They combined intelligence, courage, adaptability, and unity in a way that no other species had. And that combination was terrifying. Lyrics turned to him. "We have observed, tested, and challenged them. They have risen above every obstacle. Commander, we may have underestimated them once. We must never do so again." Velier gazed down at the glowing planet, alive with movement, energy, and purpose. "No, we will continue to observe, but with caution, respect, and understanding. Humanity is extraordinary. Their persistence, ingenuity, and courage make them a species unlike any we have faced." The Velax realized that Earth was no longer a fragile world. It had grown, evolved, and thrived. And humanity, the species they once considered small and weak, had become an unstoppable force, capable of shaping not only their planet but potentially the future of the galaxy. As night fell and the stars twinkled above, both species, aliens and humans, stood at the edge of understanding. For the Velax, the realization was sobering. They had returned expecting to observe, but they had discovered a force they could not control, a species they could not predict, and a civilization that would challenge every expectation they held. For humans, the challenge was equally clear. They had faced the unknown with intelligence, courage, and unity. They had proven their adaptability and resilience, and they were ready to meet whatever the universe would throw at them next. The Velax fleet remained in orbit for days, observing humanity with a mixture of caution and admiration. Commander Velier could no longer ignore the truth. Humans were extraordinary. They were not just intelligent. They were resilient, adaptable, and united in ways that no species the Velax had encountered could match. Every action, every decision, every small gesture reflected a species that had learned to survive against impossible odds and rise stronger each time. Lyrics floated beside him on the observation deck. "Commander," she said quietly, "we have watched them adapt, innovate, and overcome every challenge we presented. They are not only clever, they are persistent, disciplined, and brave. I believe we underestimated them in the past, and we cannot do so again." Veliar nodded, his gaze fixed on the glowing planet below. "We return after 500,000 years expecting to observe a fragile species," he said. "Instead, we find one that could shape the future of the galaxy itself. We must leave with understanding and respect, not arrogance." On Earth, humans had finished preparations for deeper contact. Cities, research facilities, and communities were aligned, ready to interact without fear. Their response had been calm, precise, and strategic. Leaders, scientists, and citizens had coordinated, demonstrating intelligence and courage. Even as alien ships cast shadows over their world, humans had shown unity and adaptability, earning not just the attention, but the genuine respect of the Velax. Dr. Amira Saul and her team stood on a rooftop observation platform, watching the massive ships in orbit. "We've shown them who we are," she said. "Not just with technology, but with courage, intelligence, and unity. They may be powerful, but we are ready for them and for whatever comes next." Ryan, standing beside her, smiled. "We have faced countless challenges throughout history. This is no different. Humans survive, adapt, and thrive. That is what makes us strong." The Velax decided to initiate a formal meeting, signaling their intent to communicate openly. A large pod descended into an uninhabited valley near a human city. It landed softly, the ground trembling slightly under its weight. Humans gathered at a safe distance, their observation and analysis precise yet calm. They were ready, not fearful, not hostile, but prepared for interaction. Commander Veliar and Lyric stepped from the pod. The Velax towered over the humans, their forms alien and imposing, yet their posture radiated calm authority. "We have observed your species closely," Veliar began, his voice steady and commanding. "We have tested your intelligence, resilience, and adaptability. And we have learned something remarkable. Humans are extraordinary." Amira Sol stepped forward, holding a small translator device. "We have observed your ships, your technology, and your movements," she said. "But more importantly, we have shown who we are. A species that survives, learns, and grows stronger with every challenge." Lyric studied the humans closely. "Your courage, unity, and ingenuity are unlike anything we have encountered," she said. "You do not fear the unknown. You adapt to it. You learn from every failure. You rise stronger every time. That is extraordinary," Veliar nodded. "We returned expecting to find fragility. Instead, we find persistence, intelligence, and bravery. Your species is not only capable of surviving, it is capable of thriving in ways that even we did not anticipate." The humans listened quietly, understanding the significance of the moment. They had not sought confrontation, yet they had earned the respect of a species far older and more powerful than themselves. The Velax were not threatening them. They were acknowledging a truth that humans had always known, that intelligence, courage, and unity could achieve extraordinary things. A pause followed as both species regarded one another. The air was filled with understanding, respect, and the silent recognition of shared curiosity. The Velax realized that humans were not merely inhabitants of a small planet. They were potential partners, thinkers, and forces capable of shaping the galaxy in ways previously unimaginable. Veliar continued, "We have observed your history, your achievements, and your resilience. We see a species that has faced near extinction, natural disasters, and internal conflict, and yet you rise each time stronger than before. That is impressive. That is worthy of respect," Amira smiled. "We do not seek conflict. We do not seek conquest. We seek knowledge, growth, and unity. But we are not weak. We will survive, adapt, and thrive in any challenge we face. That is what defines us." The Velax recorded every word, every gesture, and every detail. Humanity's calm courage and unwavering determination were unlike anything they had previously encountered. They understood now why humans had survived for hundreds of thousands of years against unimaginable odds, and why they had grown into a species that could challenge expectations across the universe. Lyric spoke quietly to Velier, her tone both reverent and cautious. "Commander, humanity is not just advanced. They are extraordinary. Their spirit, their courage, and their unity make them a force unlike any other. We must proceed with care and respect, not control or fear." Velier agreed. "Yes. Our observations have taught us that intelligence alone does not define a species. It is the combination of courage, resilience, adaptability, and unity. Humans possess all of these qualities. They are remarkable." Back on Earth, humans returned to their routines with calm focus. Scientists analyzed alien data. Engineers studied the ship's structures, and leaders considered the potential for future cooperation. Humanity had not only survived the encounter, they had demonstrated their intelligence, bravery, and unity to a species far older and more powerful than themselves. As days passed, the Velax began to withdraw. They had come expecting to observe, perhaps even to test, but now they were leaving with something more valuable: understanding and respect. Commander Velier addressed his fleet. "We return not because our mission is complete, but because we have learned what no data or simulation could have taught us. Humanity is extraordinary. They are resilient, adaptable, and courageous. They have earned our respect," Lyrics added. "And we leave knowing that this species will continue to grow, thrive, and inspire. They are a force of life and intellect, capable of achieving things we cannot yet imagine. We must observe with humility, not arrogance." The human cities below continued to glow, vibrant with life, energy, and innovation. People worked, learned, and played, unaware of the lasting impression they had left on a species that had once considered them insignificant. Humanity had shown the galaxy that intelligence was not enough. It was the courage to act, the unity to collaborate, and the persistence to overcome every challenge that made a species truly extraordinary. Commander Velier looked at the planet one last time before leaving orbit. "They're alive not just in body or mind, but in spirit. They have endured, they have adapted, and they have risen stronger each time. We underestimated them once. We must never do so again." Lyrics placed a hand on his arm. "Their legacy is just beginning. One day the galaxy will know what we now know, that humans are extraordinary in every sense." On Earth, Dr. Amira Sol watched the last of the Velax ships disappear into space. "They will remember us," she said softly, "and we will continue to grow, learn, and explore." "This is only the beginning," Ryan nodded. "We have shown that intelligence, courage, and unity can achieve anything. The universe may be vast, but humans, we are ready." As the night fell, the planet glowed softly under the stars. Humans slept, worked, and dreamed, unaware of the impact they had on the eyes that watched from the sky. They had faced the unknown with intelligence, courage, and unity, and in doing so they had earned the respect of an ancient, powerful species. The Velax fleet disappeared into the darkness of space, carrying with them a story that would be told for generations, that on a small blue planet in a quiet corner of the galaxy, a species had risen against impossible odds, endured countless challenges, and thrived through intelligence, courage, and unity. Humanity had proven that greatness was not measured by size or strength alone, but by the spirit that could adapt, endure, and rise stronger with every challenge. And on Earth, life continued, humans learning, growing, exploring, and preparing for a future that was theirs to shape. The universe had taken notice, and humanity's legacy had begun. The sky above Earth had never looked so strange. Across the blackness of space, massive shapes drifted closer, shapes that dwarfed even the largest human-built starships. These were the ships of the Vryn, an alien coalition known across several galaxies for their firepower and ruthlessness. They had come not to trade, not to communicate, but to intimidate. Their message was simple: surrender or face total destruction. On the surface, humans went about their daily lives, unaware of the looming threat at first. Children played in fields, cities thrived with technology and culture, and people worked in factories and offices that hummed with quiet efficiency. Yet in orbit above Earth, humanity's leaders were already awake, alert, and preparing for what might come. In the United Nations Orbital Command Station, A young diplomat named Ilara stood before a wide window overlooking Earth. Her face was calm, but her mind raced. She had studied the Vryn for years, learning their tactics, their communication patterns, and their weaknesses. Humanity had always faced challenges before, but never one like this. "Ambassador," a voice called from behind her. It was General Kale, the head of Earth's defense fleet. His tone was firm but respectful. "The Vryn are within our system. They will arrive at orbital range in less than 6 hours. Orders are needed immediately." Ilara turned slowly, meeting Kale's gaze. She did not flinch, though her heart beat faster than usual. "We respond," she said simply. "But not with fear. We respond with truth. Humanity will not bow," Kale frowned. "Truth will not stop their weapons." "You know that." "I know," she replied calmly. "But fear is what they expect. We do not give them fear. We give them defiance. Sometimes that is more powerful than any weapon." The general stared at her for a moment, then nodded. He understood, at least he hoped he did. Around them, other leaders were preparing their own plans. The Vryn had chosen to approach Earth quietly at first, sending a formal message demanding immediate surrender. Their message was broadcast in all major languages, in images, and in sound patterns designed to intimidate. Massive warships firing at helpless planets, civilizations falling in moments, and a promise that resistance would be met with swift annihilation. Ilara stepped forward to the communications console. She composed a reply carefully, her fingers flying over the holographic keys. She knew the aliens would read the subtext of every word. Finally, she spoke aloud to the room as the message was transmitted across space. "We do not bow." It was short, simple, and strong. She watched as the message left the station, traveling through the void toward the alien ships. On board the Vryn flagship, commanders received it and expected panic, fear, or at least hesitation. Instead, they saw calm resolve, and for a moment their confidence faltered. The aliens did not understand the human mind. They expected fear to precede surrender. They had never faced a species that would answer mockery with calm defiance. Across the galaxy, the simple line of words would ripple through human systems like a spark to dry grass. "We do not bow." Meanwhile, humanity's fleets were ready. The defense fleet had grown in secrecy over decades, preparing for threats that some leaders had dismissed as impossible. Ships equipped with electromagnetic shields, adaptive armor, and rapid response weapons moved into orbit, invisible to the naked eye from Earth. These were not just ships, they were moving statements of human ingenuity, teamwork, and readiness. In cities below, citizens had been alerted, families gathered in safe zones, schools doubled as emergency shelters, and communication networks remained open, spreading information without panic. The public did not cower. They did not scream. They simply prepared, understanding that fear could be more dangerous than the enemy itself. As the first Vryn scouts approached, humanity observed carefully. The alien ships were unlike anything humans had encountered before. Sleek, black, and angular, with surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The Vryn used strange energy signatures, weapons that could erase a city block in moments. But humans were ready, watching every move with sensors and satellites, analyzing every detail for weaknesses. Ilara stood on the observation deck, eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. "They think they have already won," she said softly, almost to herself. "But they do not know us. They have never faced humanity before." General Kale joined her again, his face grim but tinged with admiration. "Do you really think our laughter can stop them?" Ilara smiled faintly. "It is not just laughter. It is understanding who we are. They cannot intimidate a species that laughs at fear itself. They cannot break those who stand united, and they cannot win if they do not expect the unexpected." Below them, automated defenses hummed quietly, ready to deploy. Human ships moved like dancers, coordinating perfectly without the need for constant orders. Algorithms and AI supported them, but human intuition guided their every action. The Vryn might have had superior technology, but humans had adaptability, creativity, and the stubborn refusal to be cowed. Hours passed, and the tension in orbit was palpable. Every command center, every ship, and every prepared citizen waited for the first strike. The Vryn finally opened fire, or what they believed would be the opening strike. Their weapons flared in brilliant arcs, targeting satellites and defense outposts. But the humans were ready. Electromagnetic pulses disabled incoming missiles before they could reach Earth. Countermeasures sent Vryn weapons spinning harmlessly into space. Even the first orbital clash showed a truth the aliens had not expected. Human ingenuity could outmatch raw firepower. Ilara watched the battle unfold with calm eyes, though her heart raced with anticipation. "They underestimate us," she said. "They think strength alone can win, but it cannot. Humanity is more than strength. We are persistence. We are creativity. We are laughter in the face of fire." In the skies above major cities, human holographic displays projected images meant to confuse and distract the alien scouts. Ships moved unpredictably, dodging attacks with impossible timing. The Vryn, watching their fleet falter, grew frustrated. Each failed attack was a blow not only to their pride but to their understanding of what humans could do. On Earth, people noticed only faint flashes in the sky. They did not see the full battle unfolding above them, but they could hear messages from the authorities, calm and organized. There was no panic. There was no chaos. Just preparation, patience, and a quiet defiance that spread from heart to heart. The first contact had ended not in victory, nor in destruction, but in surprise. The Vryn, used to civilizations trembling before their might, had met calm laughter. They had faced a species that did not shrink or plead, and though they did not yet understand it, that laughter carried more weight than their strongest weapons. Ilara turned back to the window, watching Earth spin silently below. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "They have fire, but we have something stronger, ourselves." And in the silence of space, as stars twinkled coldly around the orbiting stations and fleets, humanity waited, not in fear, not in despair, but in readiness. The world below and the humans above it were united in a quiet, steadfast certainty. Whatever fire the Vryn could bring, humanity would endure, adapt, and perhaps even thrive. It was the first day of a war they did not start but would not lose. And it was also the first time the galaxy would see that facing humans with fire was not enough. It might only invite laughter, cunning, and a resistance stronger than the aliens could imagine. The blackness of space was no longer empty. The Vryn fleet, massive and menacing, hovered at the edge of Earth's orbital defense perimeter. Thousands of ships stretched across the void, their shapes strange and angular, their surfaces absorbing light and energy in ways humans had never seen before. The aliens moved with confidence, weapons bristling as if mere presence alone would break human resolve. But humanity did not flinch. Not one starship faltered. On board Earth's command station, Ilara watched the Vryn movements carefully, analyzing every approach vector, every energy signature, every formation. Beside her, General Kale barked orders to the fleet, but even he could not hide his respect for how composed the humans remained. "Deploy the first wave of defense drones," Kale commanded. "We test their response. Let them see that we are ready, not afraid." The drones launched in hundreds of sleek silver arcs, moving unpredictably in formations that twisted and shifted in ways the aliens had difficulty predicting. Their purpose was not just defense, it was a message. Humanity was organized, coordinated, and inventive. The Vryn responded instantly, firing their initial salvo. Pulses of energy shot from their destroyers, streaking across the darkness toward Earth's orbital stations. But the humans had anticipated this. Electromagnetic shields on the drones activated milliseconds before impact, dispersing the energy harmlessly into space. Missiles sent from the Vryn were intercepted mid-flight by automated countermeasures, exploding safely far from their targets. Ilara's voice rang out over the command deck. "They are strong, but they cannot predict the unexpected. Adjust formation gamma. Activate phase shields on all outer ships. Let them waste fire on illusions and illusions they created." Holographic decoys projected multiple images of human ships, moving as though in thousands of formations. The Vryn fired relentlessly, striking nothing but empty space. For every strike, the humans adapted, adjusting shields, redirecting drones, and using the enemy's own momentum against them. For the first time, the aliens were confused. Their precision weapons, designed to crush worlds, found only ghosts. And yet humanity did not celebrate prematurely. Every human commander knew that the real test was yet to come. The first direct confrontation. Below the orbital stations, cities continued to function. Civilians had been moved to secure zones, but life did not stop. Teachers led students through calm drills. Engineers monitored communication lines to ensure they remained active. People on Earth sensed tension in the news but were guided to prepare, not panic. Humanity had long learned that fear could spread faster than fire, and it was a weapon they refused to wield against themselves. Hours passed, and the first Vryn fleet approached critical orbit. The aliens had expected surrender, hesitation, or at least fear. Instead, they found humans unbowed, unbroken, and in a way, laughing at the audacity of their threats. The laughter was subtle, of course, hidden in human confidence, in calm defiance, and in unexpected counterattacks that left alien commanders frustrated. Alara stood again on the observation deck, scanning data streams of energy patterns, ship trajectories, and alien communications. "They will test us," she said quietly. "They will push their fire further. And we will respond not with panic but with precision and wit." Kale's expression hardened. "We cannot underestimate them. Their weapons can still destroy entire stations if we fail. Every move must be perfect." And humanity was ready for that. When the first direct engagement occurred, it was unlike anything the Vryn expected. Their warships moved to strike the orbital defense stations. Lasers lanced through space, striking shields, attempting to disable the orbital grid. Missiles streaked across the void, glowing with deadly energy. But human ships were faster, more unpredictable, and infinitely more flexible than the Vryn anticipated. Instead of charging headlong into destruction, human captains used clever maneuvers. Ships split into multiple small groups, each moving differently, weaving through the alien fire. Missiles were intercepted not just by shields but by electromagnetic pulses that disabled targeting systems entirely. Alien weapons, precise as they were, found themselves hitting empty space or even accidentally striking other Vryn ships. From the flagship of Earth's fleet, Commander Joran, a veteran of interstellar skirmishes, observed with satisfaction. "They thought technology alone could win," he muttered. "They do not understand human intuition, improvisation, or patience." And then came the moment the Vryn could not predict. Humans began to counterattack. Small but highly advanced ships slipped past the alien defenses, using stealth technology to approach destroyers undetected. Drones infiltrated critical systems, sending false commands, confusing navigation, and even creating brief power outages. Entire sections of the Vryn fleet faltered, drifting aimlessly in the void. Alara observed, calm but excited. They will regroup. But this is the moment they realize. Humanity does not yield. We adapt, we survive, we fight. On board the alien flagship, panic started to ripple. Commanders shouted over communications, trying to regain control. "How can this be?" one hissed. "Our weapons are perfect. Our fleet is unmatched." Their frustration grew with every failed strike. Human ships seemed almost alive in their unpredictability, dodging attacks that should have been fatal. Even the Vryn AI, designed to calculate and predict, struggled to adapt to maneuvers guided by human intuition. For every alien success, humanity countered with greater cleverness, turning attacks back against their enemy. On Earth, people watched faint flashes in the night sky. Most did not know what they were seeing. Strange lights, movements that seemed random, explosions far above. But they trusted their leaders. They continued their work, their education, their lives, silently confident that the humans in orbit were holding the line. Then came a breakthrough moment. A small squadron of human ships, moving with precise coordination, managed to disable the energy core of a Vryn destroyer. The explosion was contained, but the message was clear: humanity could strike back. Even the mightiest Vryn ship was not untouchable. Alara allowed herself a small smile. "We are showing them that fire alone is not enough. We are showing them who we are." The aliens observing the battlefield could not understand the humans' mindset. Their technology was meant to intimidate, but intimidation had no effect. Their attacks were meant to destroy, but destruction was countered at every turn, and the humans laughed, not loudly, not mockingly, but in the calm confidence of those who knew they could endure anything. Hours turned into a day of battle. Each side tested the other, probing weaknesses, making small strikes, and assessing strategies. But humanity's cohesion, ingenuity, and sheer stubbornness held firm. Every attack from the Vryn was met with a counter. Every assumption challenged, every expectation subverted. At the end of the day, the Vryn fleet retreated slightly, confused and frustrated. Their confidence was shaken. They had expected fear and submission. Instead, they faced calm, laughter, and a species that refused to bow. Ilara stood on the observation deck, watching the alien ships drift back. "They will return," she said softly. "They will test us again. But today, humanity has passed the first test. Today, they saw that fire alone cannot break us." Kyle nodded, a rare smile touching his face. "And they will learn that it is not just our ships or our weapons they face. It is our courage, our creativity, and our unity. They cannot calculate that." On Earth, the day ended not in panic but in quiet celebration. Citizens returned home from drills. Schools dismissed students, and life continued with a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity had endured its first real test against a species that had thought itself superior. And they had not just survived, they had proven their resilience. In the silence of space, as stars twinkled coldly around the orbiting fleets, one truth became clear. Fire alone could not intimidate humanity. Not fear, not threats, not even overwhelming power. Humans adapted. Humans endured, and humans laughed, quietly but persistently, at the audacity of those who thought them weak. Ilara's voice carried over the command deck one last time as the day ended. "This is only the beginning. They will return, stronger, perhaps faster, perhaps more determined. But they will never understand us. They will never understand that we are not just fighters. We are thinkers, creators, and survivors. They will learn eventually that laughter in the face of fire is sometimes the most powerful weapon of all." And in that quiet moment, humanity waited, calm, prepared, and unafraid. The test of fire had begun, and the humans had already passed it with grace, intelligence, and courage. The Vryn fleet had retreated, but only temporarily. The alien commanders were not used to being denied. Their pride, built over centuries of domination, could not tolerate failure. Back on their flagship, officers shouted orders, recalculating attack strategies, yet every plan seemed to falter in the face of human unpredictability. "They dodge everything," one officer screamed. "Our weapons are perfect, yet they evade every strike." Another, quieter voice noted, "They laugh at us. They do not fear us. They are not like any species we have faced before." That laughter, the subtle, confident defiance of humans, was becoming the most irritating sound the Vryn had ever encountered. On Earth, though, there was no actual shouting or mocking. The laughter was in the calmness, the way humans did not flinch, the way they adapted and struck back without hesitation. It unnerved the aliens more than raw resistance could. On the orbital command station, Ilara stood alongside General Kale and Commander Joran, studying the data from the recent engagement. They had learned much about the Vryn during the initial battle. Their energy weapons were powerful but slow to recharge. Their AI systems were precise but rigid, and above all, they underestimated creativity, intuition, and unity, traits humans had in abundance. "Prepare the next phase," Ilara said, voice calm. "We will not just defend. We will show them that they cannot intimidate us." Kale raised an eyebrow. "Are you suggesting we provoke them?" Ilara smiled faintly. "Not provoke. Teach. Sometimes the most effective strategy is to let your enemy see their failure clearly, without fear, without panic. Let them know they cannot control us. Let them feel mocked, if only in their own minds." The humans began to implement a series of tactics that were as psychological as they were strategic. Holographic projections of human ships appeared far beyond their actual positions, creating the illusion of vast numbers. Drones moved in patterns that suggested an intricate coordination humans had not yet displayed. Even when humans struck, they did so in unexpected ways, targeting alien systems without appearing to engage at all. From their command station, humans broadcast encrypted signals meant to confuse the Vryn. The aliens intercepted them and assumed they contained crucial information about human movements. In reality, the signals were harmless, decoys designed to mislead. Time and again, the Vryn acted on false intelligence, only to be thwarted by human adaptability. On the battlefield above Earth, small squadrons of human ships executed maneuvers that seemed almost playful in their complexity. Ships twisted, turned, and split apart in sudden bursts, appearing in multiple locations at once. Missiles that were fired at them disappeared into fields of energy, only to reappear moments later, targeting the alien fleet in weak spots that humans had calculated precisely. Commander Joran leaned over the tactical console, eyes wide with awe. "It's like they are dancing," he muttered. "Every move has purpose, but it is unpredictable, almost impossible to anticipate." "That is exactly the point," Alara said. "Predictability is what the Vryn rely on. Remove it, and their strength becomes weakness." The aliens, meanwhile, grew more and more frustrated. They had superior firepower, larger ships, and advanced technology, yet they were repeatedly outmaneuvered. Their carefully planned attacks often backfired, leaving them vulnerable. And every failed strike seemed to embolden the humans, their confidence visible in every calculated counterattack. The Vryn commander, a tall figure with sharp eyes and a commanding presence, called a meeting of his officers. "This is unacceptable," he barked. "We cannot be defeated by a species so disorganized. They lack the precision of our fleet." "They should fear us!" One officer hesitated before speaking. "They do not fear because they are clever. Their ships move in ways our AI cannot predict. Their tactics are unconventional." "Unconventional is irrelevant," the commander roared. "They will submit or be destroyed." But the humans refused to submit. In the days that followed, humanity's clever tactics only intensified. They used captured alien drones to infiltrate the Vryn fleet, sending false commands and causing confusion from within. Alien sensors, expecting rigid predictability, could not track human ingenuity. Small groups of humans created diversions, drawing the Vryn fleet into carefully designed traps where their own strength became a liability. Holographic projections became a key element of the strategy. Humans projected multiple fleets, confusing the Vryn about the actual positions of Earth's forces. Missiles and energy blasts were fired at illusions, wasting resources and time. Every maneuver was deliberate, showing intelligence and adaptability far beyond what the Vryn had assumed from the beginning. Alara monitored the battle with satisfaction. "See how they struggle?" she said to Kale. "Every decision they make is reactive. They cannot anticipate us and they cannot intimidate us. That is the power of human creativity." Kyle shook his head in disbelief. "I have never seen an enemy so skilled, yet so utterly unable to comprehend their opponent. They will adapt eventually, but we will have shown them who they face first." And then came the moment that truly unsettled the Vryn. Humans began to strike back in ways the aliens had not predicted. Small human ships slipped past defenses, disabling energy cores, sabotaging engines, and even temporarily hijacking systems. The Vryn, expecting slow, cautious retaliation, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. From Earth, the effect was almost invisible. Citizens glimpsed strange lights or unusual patterns in the sky, but they did not panic. They trusted that humans in orbit were not only defending the planet, but actively teaching the Vryn that fear was not an option. Ilara's plan had worked perfectly. The Vryn could see the humans' strength, but more importantly, they could see their defiance. Every counterattack, every clever maneuver, every holographic decoy communicated a single message. We are not afraid, and we cannot be broken. By the third day of engagement, the Vryn fleet was beginning to fracture. Miscommunication among alien commanders led to small skirmishes within their own ranks. Their AI systems, struggling to adapt to human unpredictability, miscalculated energy bursts, leaving ships vulnerable. And all the while, humans remained composed, striking precisely where the aliens were weakest, never overextending, never panicking. Ilara stood on the observation deck, her gaze calm and focused. "They have fire," she said softly. "But fire alone cannot win. They will learn that we are more than weapons and strategy. We are persistence. We are creativity. We are unity. And sometimes, we are laughter in the face of their greatest fury." Kyle nodded. "They will not understand us easily, and that is our greatest advantage." Even among the Vryn, whispers of unease spread. Alien officers muttered about the humans' unpredictability, about their willingness to stand firm even in the face of overwhelming power. They had never encountered such a species. Every failed attack, every subverted strike, and every unexpected counter moved them further from confidence and closer to doubt. And yet the humans did not gloat. There was no arrogance in their tactics, only precision, courage, and intelligence. Every move reinforced their unity, every strategy demonstrated their ingenuity, and every success strengthened their resolve. By the end of Part 3, the Vryn fleet was forced to reconsider their approach. They had come expecting easy conquest, but instead, They found themselves facing a species they could not intimidate. Every strike they launched was met with countermeasures that were not only effective, but often unexpected. Humanity had learned, adapted, and thrived under pressure. The aliens had been forced to see the truth. Raw firepower alone was insufficient to break the human spirit. And somewhere in the calculations of the Vryn commanders, a new and uncomfortable awareness took root. Humans could not only survive their fire, they could mock it, outthink it, and outmaneuver it. Elara turned back to the stars, her expression calm but determined. "We have passed another test," she whispered. "They will return. But we are ready. We will show them again and again that humanity cannot be intimidated, that humanity cannot be defeated, not by fire, not by fear, not by anything they can bring." Above Earth, the stars glittered silently, the calm of the human fleets a sharp contrast to the tension spreading through the Vryn command ranks. The first real engagement had ended, but the war was only beginning. Humanity had proven its cleverness, its courage, and its unity. And it had sent a message the galaxy would not soon forget. To face humanity with fire was to invite defiance, strategy, and even a hint of laughter. And somewhere deep in the alien fleet, that laughter, quiet, confident, human, echoed in ways the Vryn could not ignore.